What if I told you that your social security number actually functions like a routing number, not just the way the internet hacks are telling you? Now, in this video, I'm going to break down the real reason most people say your SSN is tied to a secret bank account, what's true about that, what's completely misunderstood, and how the system actually uses your number as a credit routing tool. I've studied trust law, Federal Reserve System, and the commercial remedy, and I'm going to connect the dots so you don't fall for the myths and understand the deeper game. Now, before we dive into this video, if you're brand new, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. All right. Turn on those post notifications so that you get an update every single time I post a video. Number two, this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Make sure to do your due diligence. I'm not here to mislead you guys or give you guys any type of misinformation. This is based off of my findings, my research, and I implore you guys to do your due diligence. Okay. Now, my goal today is really to break down the aspect of the SSN being a routing number and how to what the myths are behind it and what are the truths. Okay. I'm also going to talk about how the system truly routes your credit. So make sure you stay all the way to the end so that you know exactly what to do with this knowledge. All right. So let's dive straight in. One of the biggest things that I want to point out when it comes to the SSN being a bank routing number, I think that a lot of people will claim that you can pay off debt using your SSN plus the Federal Reserve routing number that is on the back of your SSN. If we pull up an SSN SSN card, hopefully this is not a card that okay, oh my God, this ain't a back. Okay, if I go ahead and share my screen, there's claims that this SSN is tied to an account and the back is a routing number. Okay, and essentially people use these numbers in order to pay off debt, utility bills, so on and so forth. And they also claim that there is a secret Treasury Direct Account tied to your SSN, which could be true. Okay, I'm not here to completely say that those things are incorrect or that there aren't some truths to it, but the aspect of being able to pay your debts off using the SSN number or the routing number, it's partially true, because the truth is that these attempts seem to work briefly, but typically often result in people getting reversals, or also at the same time they may get like flags dealing with fraud or even charges from what I've seen. I remember back in the day on TikTok, this is probably like it was probably like 5 years ago. It's 2025, it's 2020 when I seen this, and people were talking about this, right? It was a young lady. She literally was paying her bills using the SSN, the number on the back of the SSN. And I'm sure she was able to do it. I think that she got in trouble. I can't pinpoint exactly what happened to her, but there's some truth. There is an aspect of you being able to do it, but it's so tightly controlled that it's not something that's going to work consistently. Okay, so if you're thinking of the ideal of, okay, bet as long as I understand this process, or if I can't do this, then I can't somehow discharge debt. That's not true. You can discharge debt, but also at the same time, when it comes to the SSN and the routing number, there is a level of truth to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that you could be able to do to pay your bill. And if you can't do it, then you're going to raise hell. Okay. Here are the real dangers of the misuse of this. Okay. The misuse of the SSN as account numbers can violate 18 USC 1028, which is essentially talking about, chapter 18 really talks a lot about like fraud, conspiracy, things of that nature. So 18 USC 1028, fraud and related activity in connection with identification documents, authentication features, and information. Okay, so you have to be very strategic when doing any of these processes, because if they can prove or shift the narrative to making it seem like you did fraud and you cannot combat it, then yes, at the end of the day, you have did something fraudulently. Okay, and then you can go to 18 USC 514 18 USC 514 talks about fictitious obligations, which essentially talks about utilizing any aspect of any type of instrument to defraud something. Okay. Moreover, the misuse of it. Okay. And this is not something that you should take lightly. All right. I know that some of you guys may say, okay, well, you could do this, and maybe even rack your brain about being able to do this. And ultimately, for those people that do that, they waste time because they're looking for a way of being able to wipe away their responsibilities or obligations without, having to do something like the administrative process. They just want to type in some numbers and boom, it just pays off debt. But that's not like how debt truly operates. Okay. Even if there was an account, it wouldn't really matter because like if it's an account, then I'm sure that has similar type of accounting and they're going to use numbers to pay off the debt anyways. So you really got to shrug your shoulders on that. So it's not that the SSN has no power. It's just that people are using the wrong process and expecting the wrong results. Okay. So your SSN does give you power, but not in the sense of you being able to use that account to be able to pay off your debts. Is more of understanding that it is connected to an account that you are the beneficiary of. But as the beneficiary, there are elements that the account or rights that the account allows you to do. For example, being able to acquire credit, right? Being able to, apply for credit and things of that nature. Okay. Now, here's the truth when it comes to the SSN as a credit routing identifier. Okay. So your SSN is tied to your public trust, which is connected to your Strawman, your all caps name. Okay. That is true. Okay. And it's used to track all commercial activity, debts, and income. It's not used in a sense of, to pay, but it's really used to really identify and track certain things. But also at the same time, when you do apply for things, and this is my belief, I can't sit here and say that this is true, that there is a number that accumulates in the account, but it's accounting at the end of the day. It's not really like real money in a sense. It's not even lawful money. It's not gold, silver, metals. It's none of that. Okay. But let's just say if you think of the $37 trillion in debt, if I pull up the US debt clock, what if it was like this, right? And my theory is this, that when you do apply for things, right? And this number is much larger than what could be in your SSN account. But what if every time you applied, like there was a number similar to this that just growed under that SSN account? You may look at this as debt, like something that's owed to someone. But how I look at this is money, because in the United States, debt is an obligation, and an obligation is a security, and a security is money. Okay. Security and money is an asset. All right. So people who put in applications, believe it or not, are more of an asset to the United States than people who don't put in applications, who don't utilize their SSN. Okay. Who uses their SSN the most? People who are applying for credit, but also at the same time, people who work jobs. Also at the same time, people who, own a business and get business credit using their personal credit. But moreover, I believe that the people who are applying for credit are the ones that are truly, which is most people in the United States, are the ones who are truly growing this value on this debt clock. But then if you account it to your account, every time you put in an application and you get a loan or do a firm or whatever the case may be, that number of that SSN or that number grows. And then some people may see it as a value that they could just like extract at any point in time. So the banks, what they use your SSN for, you'll say for identification purposes, but they use your SSN to report, securitize, and trade your credit obligation. So your SSN does have the values that you believe it to have, but it's just not in the sense of you being able to just go into that account, use the routing number, and use it like a regular bank account. Okay. It's really can truly be better used by those financial institutions like the banks. Okay. because when they securitize it, that means that they're selling whatever your SSN essentially gave value to. SSN is also connected to your signature. And then also at the same time, your SSN plus your legal name is an accounting key for commercial identity. So if someone wanted to find you or find anything in relation to the accounting of your trust or your credit or whatever the case may be, all they need is your SSN and your legal name. But this is why you have to be very strategic about giving out your SSN to anybody or even starting any loan or whatever the case may be, because yes, you may be able to get some level of benefit being able to use your SSN to apply for an apartment or get a home or get a car and maybe even get a $10,000 loan. But depending on that company, they may do things like, the things we talk about on this channel, like fraud, deception, you know what I mean? Have you defaults on an obligation that they never validated, report things to your credit report without your consent, even have the fiduciary obligation or the fiduciary responsibility or duty to go in and out of that trust, you know what I mean, and acquire assets or use those assets and sell and trade them, right? And ultimately you say, well, what do? Obviously, you kind of are taking that risk every single time you're giving your SSN to somebody. But there are some companies that you'll say, you know what, I actually have a good relationship with them. They're actually maneuvering properly. But then there are some companies you look at and you're like, damn, bro, they are really giving me a hard time. Capital One, Discover, you feel me? So I don't want you to look at your SSN account as a checking account. It's more like a commercial tracking number for your estate. Your estate that's connected to your Strawman. Do you guys gather that? Now, here's how the system truly routes credit. The Federal Reserve doesn't give you access to a personal account. Instead, what they do is they monetize your promissory note, credit applications, and your obligations. Now, when we think of the definition of obligation, 18 USC 8, under 18 USC 8, obligations or other securities of the United States. It says here that obligations or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificate of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve Bank notes, United States notes, coupons, Treasury notes, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And when you see obligation, I don't want you to just think of, okay, like you're obligated to do something. I want you to think of obligation as literally just like a standalone term as money or security or an asset. So then if we go to obligation, what I'm going to go to, the definition of signature, okay, under UCC 3, C401, okay? Under UCC 401, it pretty much breaks down that your signature is what creates an obligation, okay? You must sign an instrument in order for it to become a binding obligation. Now, someone would say, well, of course, if you sign something, you're essentially saying that you are obligated to do whatever that contract says it to do. But in law, obligations is not written as something that you need to do, if that makes sense. Okay, it's more of a asset, or is more seen as like a asset, something that they can make money with when you think of the word obligation. So if someone says it's your obligation, they're literally saying like it's your money. You guys gather that, So they monetize your promissory note. They also use fractional banking, and you can look all this up in Modern Money Mechanics. I can bring this up 1,000,001 times about Modern Money Mechanics, and someone still wouldn't read it, even though it's completely free online. You can just type it in, and you can find Modern Money Mechanics. But it's connected, or it gives value to your promissory notes. It gives value to your signature, because your signature gives them authorization to be able to go in that trust. Okay, and they use your SSN to register and route the debt through their system. And remember, this system pretty much runs on debt. All right, now here's the other real connection. The SSA, which is the Social Security Administration, assigns the number, and the Treasury assigns the value, and then the bank securitized based on your signature plus your SSN. So thinking about it, it all starts with them assigning the number. But the Treasury is what pretty much, and I'm just going saying that because I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at this, but the Treasury, let's just say there is an account, okay, but they are the ones that are giving the value to your SSN. And then the banks understand that. So that's why when you do put in these applications, they are able to monetize it. Other entities understand that our applications have value too, which is why they buy it. Okay. So you can look at it like this. You are not the beneficiary of your SSN. You are the surety, but that can be changed when you operate as the creditor. So when you think of the surety is the person who kind of like is liable to it. But when you shift the perspective and you say, okay, this is the value that I'm giving, instead of you using it as something to just like, route or track that I have debt to be owed, instead of you doing that, now it's more of I know that this is a value that's being created. Okay. You're just tracking the value. You're not tracking me owing something. You're tracking my value. Okay. Now, what do you do with this knowledge? I mean, I'm talking and then one may say, okay, bet like, now we understand that the SSN is not something that we could just use as a checking account or a bank account or whatever the case may be, right? Let's start by, before we move forward, click the like button, click the subscribe button, tap in, okay? Doing this video relatively quickly because I do have a stuffy nose. I will put my mask on, you feel me? But here's what to do with your knowledge or everything that you just heard today. Number one, stop chasing these TDA hacks. Stop chasing these lotions and potions or magic words and thinking that that's what's going to discharge your debt. And I don't say this to discourage you, but I say this to really bring up the truth and get you out of the mindset of trying to find something that is like, something magical, something theoretical, okay? I want you guys to focus on actual processes that will have legal merit when you do go in court, okay? So, number one, learn how to reclaim your control using a trust, okay? Now, it's not something that you always need, but for my people who really want to take it there, create a trust if you really want to take that control back, okay? Number two, learn how to assign your debt to your trust using private process, using the administrative process to be able to enforce what it is that you did and communicate with the debt collector. Also, at the same time, learn how to operate through the UCC using conditional acceptance and fiduciary notices, etc., like the Form 56. Whether you're going to do it through a trust or whether you're going to use a coupon, whether you're going to use 1099, you have to understand how to communicate with a debt collector. I don't care if you have this secret routing number and it paid your bill one time, whatever the case may be. It's not going to work for every single bill. Okay? It's not something that's just going to change your circumstance. Okay? What's going to change your circumstance is understanding how to communicate with a debt collector. What's going to change your circumstance is being able to write a conditional acceptance letter. What's going to change your circumstance is understanding exactly what they should be giving you in order to prove the validity of a contract. What should change your circumstance is understanding contract law foundations and understanding what meets the criteria of a enforceable contract. Because whatever their argument is that you agree to pay, your agreement is a contract. But if that agreement wasn't clear and conspicuous and don't follow the foundations of contract law, then that agreement is technically not even a real agreement. It's not even something that they can enforce. And this is what we stand on when we are challenging debt or discharging debt. Okay. Now remember, when it comes to the aspect of discharging is not removing the obligation, it's transferring the obligation from one party to the next. These are some fundamental concepts that help you to build the confidence to be able to communicate with debt collectors and be able to walk into court and be able to combat against some of the trivial things that they'll say. Okay. And it will be trivial if you are studying it. Use your SSN for verifying your accounts under your trust. So anything that's connected to your SSN, anything that you put your SSN on is connected to your trust, or that company or that financial institution is able to go and use your trust as an asset, okay? Or use your SSN as an asset, even your job, okay? If you have a W-2 job and you gave them your SSN, they are able to go in and out your trust. If you have a utility bill, they are able to go in and out of your trust. Okay? How do you think they're getting paid? Oh, you think they're getting paid through you? How do you think they're able to issue you coupons? It's not because you don't have an SSN, or it's not because like you actually owe them. It's because that's literally value that they are extracting from your SSN, from your signature. So technically, these are interest payments that should be paid to you when we thinking about coupons, okay? Number two, use your SSN for assigning responsibility to the estate, okay? So again, the SSN is connected to your Strawman, so this is what you would use your SSN for. And also using your SSN to build a lawful paper trail that shows your status as the grantor or the creditor. They gave you the SSN to track you, but you understand that its purpose is to give you value and what they use it for. They use it to securitize, or they will, that pretty much breaks down that they can securitize your loans and they can make money, and that you are an asset, that you do create an obligation, and that your obligation is a security and your security is money to the bank. So understand your value and take the control back, not just through, oh, I'm going to look at my SSN and I'm going to just write this number in there. That's not really taking control. That's still asking for permission. Oh, I didn't ask for permission to put this number in. Well, you're hoping that it will work, and that's where the permission comes in. Okay? So yes, your SSN is powerful, but not in the sense of you typing in these numbers and it's going to actually pay your bills. Like I said earlier, it may work, but it could possibly get reversed, and you could possibly be running into situations where you may run into some fraud. You may get in trouble. And I don't really say that to scare you. I say that to really encourage you to do the right thing and learn. I have a plethora of videos and different ways to communicate with debt collectors. Even a part of my school community, I have resources and templates, guides that you could be able to tap into so that you could be able to learn and use it as a resource so that you can get remedy privately before you end up going to court or have your back against the wall, okay? And again, I'm not against paying your debts properly, okay? There's two ways that you can pay your debt. You can either use the debt discharge processes that I talk about and challenge the contract. Just know that's a longer process. Or number two, you can just make some money and pay your debt. And someone say, well, I shouldn't have to make money. Well, that's almost like saying I shouldn't have to write a letter for them to, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not fair, okay? Jim Rohn said it best. He said, imagine if we lived on this planet and every 5 minutes some black thing goes up in the air and then crashes down every 5 minutes. Boom. Every single day. Every hour it does that. And you may look at that and say, well, that's a very interesting arrangement. And you can sit there and you can wag your finger at it all day, but get from under it. Don't get crushed just because you think that it shouldn't be that way. That's a crazy arrangement. Trust me, it's going to do it no matter how you feel. So get from under it first. Find a way to maneuver around it, okay? And judge it from a distance, okay? If it's going to keep going up and crashing down, get from under it, okay? If it's nothing that you can't inherently stop, then just learn how to navigate through it, okay? You can hate the game, but just if this is the only game that you're a part of, just beat it. I don't even know if that's the right analogy for it, but you get what I'm trying to tell you. So that's what I have for y'all. Okay, the SSN is not something that you should just like use as or think that. Just don't believe that conspiracy. Okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to learn more about the private remedy process, be able to communicate with debt collectors, and also be able to connect with a community that's doing the same exact thing, tap into the school community, the Fund Yourself Academy. The link will be in the description. You can get it for a free trial for 7 days. And after the 7 days, it will charge you $27. So you can try it out for 7 days. We have the 750 accelerator in there, the complete debt guide. We have consumer law hacks. We also have resources and templates like what I talked about in my videos. So tap in, take a look at those things. Number 2, if you want to work with me one-on-one specifically about fixing your credit, getting funded, tap into that one-on-one mentorship. Number 3, tap into my Instagram at biz.nick, tap into my Twitch at biz_nick, tap into the Discord. I'm planning to do a live Q&A in the Discord and live stream it. If you want to be a part of that, tap into the Discord. Other than that, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the post notifications so that you can get an update every time I post a video. And one more thing, if you ever tried the SSN trick, drop it down in the comment section down below. Let us know how it worked, what your thoughts were. If there's anything that I didn't cover in this video, go ahead and put it down in the comment section down below. I love you guys. Yes, this was a short video, but, well, I'll say short video, but it was 28 minutes long, okay? I love you guys. If you gotten this far, comment the word discharge, and I'll see you in the next one.